guys. Happy Wednesday. Happy Way Back Wednesday. That's going to be our question for the day, because I want to know what's your favorite memory you had of this school year. Mine is really fun. A favorite memory I had is when you guys worked very hard to get the blue ribbon in the cafeteria, and when you came running down the hallway to show me you had finally gotten the blue ribbon for your behavior in the cafeteria. I was so excited because you guys worked together so well to make that happen. You made it a goal, you worked together, and you made it happen. So let me know in the comment section below. I want to know, what is your favorite memory this school year? I have a special guest. Do you want to come? Maddie. Everyone say hi, Maddie. Maddie, what has been your favorite memory this school year?
Probably the first day of school and getting the blue ribbon.
Ooh, the first day of school and your class getting the blue ribbon too? Oh, those are good goals. You guys got it a lot? All right. Okay, so those are our favorite memories this school year. I want to know, what are your favorite memories, you guys? So go ahead and type them in the comment section below. I absolutely love hearing from you guys, so I can't wait to read all of those memories. Okay, I miss you. You guys stay safe, and we'll talk soon. Bye. Okay, so for day 2 math, the first page is task. Our task is, bundling and unbundling. So we need to make true equations, write one number in every space. Draw a picture if it helps. So right here when it says write one number in every space, we need to remember to always go in order. We have hundreds, tens, and ones. So even if a number isn't represented in a space, a number needs to go there, which would be 0. So we're going to start with A, and A has 100. So 1 is going to represent that 100. Then it said plus 4 tens. We're going to put the 4 in the tens column. And then there's nothing for 1, so we're going to plug in a 0 for that. And we know 100 plus 4 tens equals 140. Then they kind of reverse the numbers here. They're trying to trick us. We need to remember we always start going in order, hundreds, tens, and ones. So we're going to start with hundreds, and again, it's 100, 4 tens, and they also didn't give us a value for 1, so that's also going to be 0. So we know 100 plus 4 tens equals 140, and we also know that 4 tens plus 100 equals 140. Notice that the values didn't change no matter the order they gave them to you, because we're focused on the place value. Okay, now we're going to move on to B. And B wants to know, what is 4 tens equal to? 4 tens is equal to 10 tens and plus blank tens. Well, let's use our base 10 blocks down here, 14 tens. Well, we have 100, and let's count how many. We have a 100 block here. Let's count how many rows are in 100, because we know there's 10 in each row. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we know this is worth 10, and then if we count our 10 bars, that would be 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So here we have 14 tens. We know we have 10 tens. Our 100 block is going to represent those 10 tens. And then what do we have left? 1, 2, 3, 4. We have our 4 tens. Remember, if any of this is confusing, always use your base 10 blocks. You can draw the big square, just like we did in class. Draw the big square, that represents 100. The little rectangles can represent a 10 bar, and then the little squares represent ones. And now they're asking, we're finding, what is 14 tens equal to? We know 14 tens is equal to 4 tens, but now it's saying how many hundreds? Well, how many 100 blocks do we have here? We have 100 block. So we know 14 tens is equal to 100 plus 4 tens. And now we are going to move on to C. And again, here they're trying to trick us, because it would be very easy to say 7 ones plus 5 hundreds. You could say, if you weren't paying attention to what place value was asking, or giving you rather, the value, it would be very easy to say, oh, 75. But remember, we need to go in order, hundreds, tens, ones. So we're going to start with hundreds. It says 500. So I know a 5 is going to go in that place value where the hundreds is. It does not give us a 10, but remember, just because it doesn't give us a 10 doesn't mean we skip that. The value of the tens is 0. and then it's giving us 7 ones. So we know there are 7 ones. So 7 ones plus 5 hundreds is equal to 507. And now we are going to move on to D. Again, 8 hundredths is equal to. We need to figure out what 8 hundredths is equal to. Again, breaking it apart and focusing on each digit in the place value. So we're going to start with hundreds, and we know there are 8 of them. It does not give us a 10, but again, we cannot leave it blank, so 0 tens, and also it does not give us a value for ones, so that is also 0. So we know 8 hundredths is equal to 800. Okay, now we're going to go over E. We need to know what 106 is equal to. Here we have a 100 block and we have 6 ones. So we know 106 rather, sorry, is equal to 100, 0 tens, and 6 ones. So 100 plus 0 tens plus 6 ones is equal to 106. And now it's asking how many tens and ones is in 106. So we need to know how many tens is in 100. Here I have my 100 block. We're going to count how many rows, knowing that there's 10 in each row. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There are 10 tens in 106. And we know 10 tens equals 100. And then we need to know how many ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Focusing on that one column in place value. So we know 10 tens and 6 ones is equal to 106. And now we need to know how many ones in 106. Well, again, we need to know how many we know 100, and then we have 6. How many ones is in 100? And if you added up all these squares, this is equal to 100, and 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106. So we know there are 106 ones in 106 based on the place value. Okay, and now we're going to move on to F. Here we have 90 plus 300 plus 4. We know that the 300 represents the hundreds column because there are 3 digits. We know the 90 is going to represent the tens column because there's 2 digits. And we know that the 4 is going to represent the ones because we have 1 digit. So again, always starting hundreds, tens, ones. So 300, we need to know how many hundreds. 300s, we need to know how many tens. There are 9 tens, and then how many ones. There are 4 ones. So we know if we added up 90 plus 300 plus 4, it is equal to 394. Okay, and now we're going to move on to lesson 2 where we reteach. So a lot of this is review from what we did a while back in class, all right? Focusing again on hundreds, tens, and ones. Remembering that's the order we need to focus on. Okay, it says you can use pictures to represent hundreds, tens, and ones. So if we use a picture, always draw those base 10 blocks. The big square is 100, our 10 bars, and then the little squares equal ones, or I'm sorry, represent the ones. So here we have our example is 126. Break it apart first. How many hundreds? There's 100. How many tens? There are 2 tens. How many sixes? How many ones? There are 6 ones. So we know a big square represents 100. 2 10 bars. There are 2 tens, so we need to draw 2 10 bars. There are 6 ones. We need to draw 6 ones. And that is 2 ways to show that. You're breaking it apart based on the place value, and you're representing it with a picture. So let's try one of those together. Number 1, write and draw how many hundreds, tens, and ones. So I went ahead and used base 10 blocks to represent 192. So we just need to count how many blocks we used, and that's going to help us represent 192. So 192, we have 100. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 tens. And we're going to move over to our ones and count those. We have 1, 2 ones. So 192 has 100, 100, 9 tens, and 2 ones, as represented by our base 10 blocks. Moving on, let's try another one of those together. Number 2, we need to represent 267. So again, how many hundreds do we have? I have 2, because that's what 2 is what represents the number in the hundred column. So we have 2 hundreds. I have 6 tens, and that's what represents the number in the 10 column. We have 6 in the 10 column, and we have 6 10 bars, so we know we have 6 tens. And then the number that represents the 1 column is 7. We have 7 ones. That is going to tell us that 267 is equal to 2 hundreds, 6 tens, 7 ones, as represented again by our base 10 blocks. Okay, and now we're going to move on where we need to write the number. It's given us how many hundreds, how many tens, how many ones, and we need to figure out the number. So number 3 has 3 hundreds, 2 tens, 5 ones. It's put them in order for us, so we just need to plug in our numbers. 3 hundreds, 2 tens, and 5 ones. So we know 3 hundreds, 2 tens, and 5 ones is equal to 325. So we're going to do the same thing with number 4, where we have 2 hundreds. They're looking what is equal to 2 hundreds, 4 tens, and 9 ones. Again, plugging in those numbers based on the place value and their order. So we're going to 2 hundreds is going to represent, we know there's 2. 4 tens, they're in the tens column, we're going to put a 4. And 9 ones. In that nines column, we are going to put a 9. So we know 2 hundreds, 4 tens, 9 ones is equal to 249. Moving on to number 5. 8 hundreds, 7 tens, 0 ones is equal to, again, we're going to just do the same thing, going in order from hundreds, tens, and ones. We are going to plug in the numbers that are given to us. We have 8 hundreds, we have 7 tens, and we have 0 ones. So we know 800, 7 tens, 0 ones is equal to 870. All right, and then the final problem they gave you is one of these where you're showing a problem in 4 different ways, and we're using addition, so we know we're looking for the sum of 24 plus 18. You're showing this 4 different ways. In the first box here, it says use any strategy. This is where I like you to line it up based on the place value, and then we're going to start with the ones, and then we're going to move over to the tens. So here we have, if we're just focusing on the ones column, we have 4 plus 8. We know 4 plus 8 is 12, so we are going to have to regroup, and what we're going to do is we're going to break apart that the 12, and the tens is going to go over to the 10 column, which is a 1. And then the 2 is going to go over there under our ones column. Now we need to add together the tens column. We have 1 plus 2, which equals 3. And then we have the 3, the sum of 1 and 2, plus 1 is 4. So we know that, oops, sorry about that. We know 24 plus 18 is 42. And we're going to show it using 3 different strategies to check our work. Okay, so now we're going to use models or visuals where we represent 24 plus 18. We have 2 10 bars that represent the 2 tens in 24, and then we have another 10 bar to represent the 1 in 18. Over here, we have ones that represent 4 in 24 and the 8 in 18. Remember, to regroup, for every 10 ones we have, we're going to trade that in for a 10 bar. So let's go ahead and count 10 ones, and as soon as we get to 10, we will trade that in. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Perfect. So now we can trade those 10 in for another 10 bar. So we'll slide that up. And then the remaining ones will slide over to our box, and that will represent the sum of 24 plus 18. Now let's go ahead and count to check our work. We know we need our visuals and our models to equal 42. So let's count how many 10s we have. We'll skip count by 10s. We have 10, 20, 30, 40, 41, 42. Perfect. Now we're going to write a story. And again, remember, whenever we write a story, we're just making up our own word problem. Today, our story is Mrs. Lopez found 24 eggs on Easter. Maddie found 18. How many eggs did they find altogether? And remember, when we say find altogether, we know that it is an addition problem because we're looking for the sum. Okay, and then now we need to know, how do you know your answer is correct? And remember, to know our answer is correct, we're going to use that inverse operation, which is always doing the opposite. And because we have addition in our in our problem here, we're going to use subtraction to check our work. So what we're going to do is we're going to take 42, which was the sum of 24 and 18, and we're going to subtract it from one of our add-ins. And if the difference is the other add-in, we know our work is correct. So let's go ahead and start. We have 2 minus, we're going to start 42 minus 18. Sorry, we're going to start with our ones column. We have 2 minus 8. Remember, if you have 2 of something, can you take 8 away? No, you cannot. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to regroup. So we're going to borrow from the 4. The 4 is going to now become a 3, and the 2 is going to become a 12. Crossing out the 2, so we know we are no longer going to use that as a 2. Now that's going to be represented by a 12. 12 minus 8 is 4. And then we're going to move over to our tens column, and 3 minus 1 is 2. So we know that 42 minus 18, that difference is 24. And indeed, that does represent the same value as the second add-in in our equation, so we know our work is correct. If you guys have any questions, please let me know in the comments, or you can message me on class tag. I will do my best to help you. I hope these videos are helpful, and I will try and post as many as I can. I hope you guys are staying safe.
Okay guys, we hope you're doing mindfulness at home with your families. We're going to do some more on Friday. We have like some really fun ones I've always wanted to try, right?
Absolutely.
And you guys can try them at home with us. We'll do it together so you guys can see how it is with like a group. And we'll have Maddie. She's TikToking right now, but we'll include her later. And that's it. Right?
Yeah, that's it.
Happy Way Back Wednesday.
Talk to you guys soon.
Bye.
Bye.